Right, good morning, dear listeners. Bielsa, Nigeria, Niger Deltas. Welcome to another enlightening edition of Let's Talk Nigeria, right here on Golden 97.5 FM Yanagwa, your trusted voice for engaging discourse, national issues, and informed dialogue that matters. I am Moyo Stephen.
And I am Paul Bassa.
And as always, it's a pleasure to be with you on this beautiful morning show. Today we are zooming in on an issue that strikes at the very heart of our development as a nation: education, specifically the state of public schools in Nigeria. Now, from the overpopulated classrooms in the cities to dilapidated structures in rural areas, public education continues to face systemic neglect, underfunding, and policy inconsistency. But beyond the national headlines, what is the reality here at home in Bayelsa State?
Yes, Bayelsa, which happens to be the glory of all lands, despite this oil wealth and relatively low population, is still grappling with basic challenges in its public education sector. Lack of infrastructure, shortage of qualified teachers, poor remuneration, and weak inspection systems, amongst other things they are facing right now. Schools in some local government areas still operate without roofs, libraries, or even functioning toilets. And yet we expect excellence from our students. This morning we'll be x-raying the current
University lecturer, engineer, and seasoned public affairs commentator. Good morning, sir, and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, good morning, Kimoye. Good morning, Bassa. Glad to be here again. I want to start by thanking the management of Golden FM. You guys are doing a wonderful job. Our people need to be informed, they need to be educated, and it is only when you are informed that you could make choices and then take action. So thank you guys for the job you're doing.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, with his vast experience in academia and a clear-eye view of governance and policy, Engineer Saprobi will help us unpack the issues and ask the tough questions, as well as answer the tough questions and explore actionable solutions. So stay tuned, and you will be sharing your thoughts pretty soon, and let your voice be heard as well when we finally open the phone lines, because this show, Let's Talk Nigeria, is going to be very, very interactive. We will want to hear from you because it's all about education, equity, and the future of our children. So let's get started, because it's Let's Talk Nigeria. So let's get started with this first question. Engineer Saprobi, how would you describe the overall state of public schools in Nigeria today? And how does Bayelsa compare to the national average?
Okay, thank you very much. Permit me to start with my usual refrains. And that is to say that regardless of what we're talking about, whether we're talking about education, economics, politics, it comes down to that very important one word: leadership. And as we continue with the conversation, we are also going to be looking at what kind of leadership have we received in this particular sector. Because honestly, everything starts and ends on the desk of the leader. Now, that said, I'd like to continue and say that education should serve two basic functions: a social function and economic function. And I have done several radio programs, and we've had this kind of conversations previously. And the subject of today's conversation is so important, because in some of my previous programs, I have said that leadership is our problem. Why? Most of our leaders, and I mean majority of our leaders, have not received the education that fits them for public office. You see, so although I say so much about leadership, All right. Undergirding that is the importance of education. What kind of education have these people received, those who we call our leaders? And if you look, although we're going to be discussing Nigeria and Bayelsa State, if you look worldwide, the greatest economies, the greatest societies have always had great educational system. You know, America is a leading economy, okay, a leading power. That is because the American educational system responds to the need for that society to lead. Today, China is leading, or a rapidly rising power. In fact, China is right now one of the biggest manufacturing powers in the world. And the reason is because the Chinese people recognize the value of education and they invested in it. And now other countries, including Nigerians, are going to China. Why? Because they took this very important subject very seriously and raised millions of Chinese who not only understand the importance of society but also have the technology to help them grow their economy. So I'm saying here now that back here at home, okay, we've not done that kind of investment. So I go back to what I said before. Education should serve two basic purposes. The first is social. The second is economic. The second you might consider also utilitarian, something that, you know, that is useful. But the first element is the most important, the social content of learning, because this is what fits people for society. It is essentially what gives them the foundation for them to be able to engage with other members of society, be able to understand rules and be able to respect rules, and then also be able to grow themselves in a manner that they are free, confident, and be able to interact. Then the second element, which is the utilitarian element or the economic element, is the one that gives you skills, vocation, profession, lawyer, doctor, engineer, carpenter, welder, whatever it is. You see, so now the very first one, if you ask me, is actually the most important, that we are able to offer to our children an educational system or education that first of all empowers them as an individual, a valued member of society. Before you can make any contribution, you have to first of all know who you are, know what you're capable of doing, and know what direction you ought to be going. So that foundation needs to be laid. Okay, now I will quickly add one more element and I'll come to your question specifically. In 2001, okay, I was preparing myself for the governorship contest in this state. So I wrote a manifesto, and I'm just going to paraphrase what I wrote back in 2001 regarding education. I have it here, and I will send it to you so you can also eventually take a look at it. Under education, I said, knowledge is the preeminent source of economic value, the most important asset, whether personal, state, or national, and that in the 21st century and beyond, the wealth of nations and the prosperity of its people will come to depend not on the availability of raw material, but on the quality of its intellectual asset. Okay, that may seem to sound like a lot, okay, but it
want to break it down.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, but it encapsulates my view of the value of education. That education is much more important than raw material. Look at Japan. Look at Korea, South Korea. These people don't have nearly 1/10 of the kind of resources that we find around us. You know, when I was a young engineer in California, my colleague with whom I shared one office, okay, said that they're not able to grow bananas, for example. You know, so they depend on import for things like banana, of course. But remember, recently we went to Korea to learn how to do agriculture. All right. So
Ouch.
now, you see, so the emphasis in today, look at Google, for example, Amazon, Microsoft, okay, and then SpaceX, right? These are organizations that are worth trillions of dollars. Okay, they do not have a petroleum OPL mining license given to them. Okay, their entire wealth have been generated by brain power. And look at how many persons they employ worldwide. And so I want this conversation to focus on the fact that our biggest asset, the most valuable asset, is our brains. Okay, now, that said, I can come back now to the question you asked, was the state of the education system,
Public schools in
public
Nigeria.
schools in Nigeria, and in Bayelsa. Deplorable, okay, and that's understatement, okay. There is something they say. I'm learning the vernaculars, or the colloquial language that we use to touchlight something, right?
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, the one that cracked me up was in the lyrics of Parama Freetown. He says that they say love is blind. That was before. That now that love can see, it has even touchlight. So if we really put searchlight on our school system, I'm telling you, people will not believe what they see. And for example, in my own community, Elebebri, we are grappling with the fact that there are no facilities, the roofs were leaking, and so our school system, public school system, is in an entirely deplorable state. Again, it goes to leadership. What kind of leadership have we received in the educational sector all over the years? I'll tell you, I'll never get tired of talking about leadership. Recently, we celebrated Melford Okilo 17th Memorial. Okay. And we went back to say thank you to some of the people that supported us. Yesterday, we were in Port Harcourt, and we went to Okrika. So, at the palace of the Amayana for Kochiri, okay, I'll take a turn. His PA, once he saw the T-shirt with Okilo on it, he said, look, that in his village, he himself is a beneficiary of the educational program of Melford Okilo at that time.
Which village?
Somewhere in Okrika. I cannot remember the name now. Okay. So this speaks to how the governor Okilo at that time valued the importance of education. So if the leader recognizes the importance of a particular thing, they tend to prioritize those things.
True.
Okay, so with that being said, because you just laid a very big foundation for us to go, a huge number of these people that are in leadership today, somehow, back in the time, went through public education. They were a byproduct of it. My father, God bless his memory, before he got a scholarship from the then Rivers State government to go study in the United Kingdom, and that's where he did. And from there, he got his first ever employment while he was, was through his school. It was because there was giving that everybody gave everything to education. But how come the recipients of this good thing of free education and the standard of education suddenly are now in the helms of affairs, so much somehow are beginning to play the blind eye to education?
I tell you, the question couldn't be better put. Gbasa. And that's, to me, the mystery, you know. And I put it back down to leadership and then motivation. Those who have ascended top leadership,
Yeah.
why did they seek to get power? All right, and what do they intend to do with that power? Okay, it's for me. I've tried to analyze this problem, and I'm still in that process, and I'm hoping that at some point I could document my thoughts and some of my findings regarding this. The leadership selection or leadership recruitment is one of the issues, one of the problems. For example, you are appointed a commissioner
Yeah.
by a governor, and then you go to the governor with ideas, you know, that you feel that if things are done this way, then society is likely to benefit. But the governor that appointed you to that position, how did they get there themselves? And what was their motivation? You see. Now, if they got there themselves, by themselves, I mean they got there with with little or no strings that have been hooked to their hands so that somebody could be pulling, you know, the strings from all kinds of places, then they will have the freedom. And I will tell you that one example again is Melford Okilo.
Yeah.
At the time before he was elected as governor of Rivers State, he already had all the plans in his head before he became governor. Because if you consider that he spent only 4 years and 3 months in office, and yet he was able to bring about the first independent power system in this whole country, and then affected educational system as much as he did, including setting up, upgrading science, College of Science and Technology in Port Harcourt to become University of Science and Technology, all within a span of 4 years plus. So you can see that he arrived there prepared. Thank you very much. Prepared, Basa.
Yes,
now, I go back to the question you asked. So if now you are appointed a commissioner, and then you go with this brilliant idea, and this idea will require funding. You see, so if the governor had been put there by powers that make a demand on him or her, and this your proposal arrives, they look at your proposal not as one that will enhance the social opportunities for the people, but one that will limit their ability to recover the kind of money
That they've invested in.
that they've invested in this whole thing. They are likely to shove your beautiful plan aside.
So does that give the reason why we're having our educational sector is poorly funded all across Nigeria?
Okay, so yes, my thesis is that our leaders, as I've said before, yes, okay, have been poorly motivated, right? Let me put it this way, all right? I have said this privately, and I think maybe 1 or 2 occasions publicly, that this country is still suffering from the trauma of the January 1966 failed military coup, January 15, failed coup, because failed in the sense that those who had originally planned it could not execute the coup. And then there was a counter coup, all right? And for me, you see, that is very important point of departure in terms of our development and progress. Subsequently, the struggle for power was not necessarily to benefit the vast majority of the people, but to reward those who have managed to take control of the levers of power. That's my thesis, you know. And so that being said, education did not rank as the most important thing for them. You know, like for example, in the military, they had all kinds of problem with the university people, locked up people, and there was also some kind of struggle in the sense that the military were in power, okay, but the university people felt that they had superior knowledge, you know, okay. This, if you read the literature from that time, you will find this kind of struggle. So my thinking then is that their priority was not necessarily to raise the quality of humans through education. It wasn't their priority. Their priority became how to maintain themselves in power. So military spending skyrocketed far beyond what it used to be. And this continued for a very long time, for 20 plus years. Okay, so I'm saying that this thinking might have affected part of the reason why we are where we are. Let me give you a quick example.
Yeah.
The USAID, although now they've come under very strict scrutiny, at the early independence, they said to Nigeria, bring us your best. Just give us your best. You know, we will take them to America, train them for you. You know, okay. So they started that program, and a lot of bright people with sound school certificate were taken, sent to America. Many of them went on to get PhDs and came back. Idika Carlo, for example, who was one-time minister under Babangida, Chu Okongu, who was also a minister. You know, the list goes on and on and on. Many went to Cambridge, Oxford, MIT, Harvard. Yes, Femi Okunomu, for example, was one of those. He went to MIT, then to Harvard. You know, so this continued until when the civilian government of Shagari came. They just simply cancelled it. Now, remember that this program, Nigerian government made no contribution. That is all they said. Give us your best. We will train them for you. So there was no counterpart funding of any kind by the Nigerian government. And yet, a government cancelled that scholarship. What does that tell you? Okay. Then, before the Nigerian government, as you said, including River State, immediately after the war, had very liberal scholarship programs, you know. And in fact, for those who were in River State that were bright, they were selecting because they would get both the federal and then the state, you know. Okay. Again, these scholarships were competitive. It was not given out on any kind of quota basis. If you had the ability, you were given the scholarship. And our people were sent all over the world. There was no limitation as to where you could go. All right. But again, when that civilian government came, they put
It stopped all.
It stopped. And from that time on, okay, there have been, now the more recent one I'll give you, Kime. I know you're about to just grab the microphone and then blast me with questions, but I'm ready. The more recent one was the Goodluck Jonathan Scholarship. He called it PRECEDE, Presidential Scholarship for Innovation and Development. So he came up with this policy that our best students with first class, you know, regardless of where they come from, will benefit from this scholarship. So the first set were awarded in 2013. You know, in that scholarship, 450, you know, first class people applied, and they took only 100. Okay, 100. And of course, I'm proud to say that one of my students from NDU in my own department, my very mentee, was among the first to get that scholarship. He was the second best national, and today he has a PhD from Cambridge University and just doing very well. So I'm pretty. Then the second set, the following year, there were about 1,000 or so who now applied, and then they also selected 100 out of that. Again, I'm also proud to say that in the second set, one of my own students, Ebenti, who was a classmate of the first guy, also got the scholarship. Today he's in Canada, PhD from one of the top universities, McGill University, and is doing well.
He's not back. All of them are back to the country. What's going on? I'm just waiting. Oh, they're done. They're back home. And then, yeah.
But I'll tell you a story, though. I'll tell you a story.
Whoa, okay.
Now, the following year, the following 2 years now, they are awarded. This time, they started to aim at the universities. That is, those who are already like maybe graduate assistants in Nigerian universities, schools like Nsukka and Futu. They got quite a number of people who were selected. Somebody in National Assembly said no. They were going to kill not enough Northerners were being given the scholarship. And so, in fact, they put pressure on Goodluck to do it on a quota basis. And the president said no, that this is going to be strictly a merit thing. He refused. So when he lost the election and the next president came, they shut it down completely. Shut it down. So those who had been selected already, just waiting to be announced, were all cancelled. They already had their admission to go to the university. Everything was ready. They just cancelled it. So you see, when I say leadership, people should understand that, look, leadership is everything. All right? Good leaders run good societies. And good society basically is constituted of people who are sufficiently educated. Being educated is not a matter of speaking English. No, that's not it. Okay, the Arabic civilization, flourished some time ago. Okay, and today Chinese. More people are now aiming to learn Mandarin Chinese than they are trying to learn English. So leadership is everything. We should, especially now that we're approaching another election cycle, those who are listening, you want a good educational system, let's begin to look at those who can help us get that kind of educational system. Whatever you're asking for, ask yourself, who are the next set of people who are coming up to present themselves as your leaders? Because if you have the right leaders, they will also help you to protect right education. Now, you asked the public school system. These people, as I said, came out of the public system, school system. I'm certainly one of the beneficiaries of the public school system here in River State. Although I started from a technical school, which was private, but then I transferred to secondary school, Western Ahoda County High School, just around the corner here. And the River State government ran these things efficiently and effectively. It was a boarding school. I became the school captain, or senior prefect, as they call it. And as a little boy, I had enormous power. So now, every 2 weeks, foods were supplied. Every two weeks, unfailingly. Whether the previous one finished or not, foods were supplied. So these young children in boarding school were well looked after. So what has happened? My point is that our leaders have become motivated not by public service, all right, but by personal desires to get power and become rich.
Amass more money for themselves.
Okay, and I'll tell you that politics is not where you get rich. Politics is where you go to serve. We're discussing education, but you see, earlier I said that there were two components: social component, and then the economic or utilitarian component. There's a great overlap. So you really cannot discuss anything about progress, economic, political, anything else without discussing political. And I'll tell you what Aristotle said about it. And I like the way he put it, And so the condition of schools, now, the people in government, they just don't even know what they are doing, or maybe they do, because I'll give you an example of why I'm saying this. Yeah. They think that painting and renovating some school building is an accomplishment. What nonsense! Anybody can do that. You don't need a governor to renovate a leaking roof or paint a building. The duty of the state government is to set policies and then match those policies with funding and then supervision.
Exactly. So I want to ask you the question: are there mechanisms in place for regular supervision, monitoring, and evaluation of public schools in the states? That was the question I wanted to ask you. And you just mentioned it.
Okay. Now, can you point to me the public utilities of any kind, school or anyone, that is functioning that you know of? Can you? All right. So the dilemma comes down again to what motivates the leader. Right now, the overwhelming motivation for any kind of action seems to be pecuniary reward, monetary reward. You know, there is no systematization of anything. We cannot maintain water. We can't maintain water flowing regularly. We cannot maintain. Why? Yet we have hundreds of billions of naira in the budget every single year. In fact, it's here that I came to understand that approving funding, okay, is different from releasing. Approval and releasing. My God, I never knew that.
I even thought that approving means I've approved it and monies will be released instantly.
Yeah,
Do you understand me? So you begin to find all this type of things, and then
Bottlenecks.
And then again they are deliberate, because the purpose is not to serve the social progress of society, but to serve some personal interest. Yeah.
Just hold it there. Let's open the phone line.
Yes.
I mean, Engineer Saporobi has really touched so many places, so many angles, but of course we want you to air your views and also lend your voice to this conversation this morning. We are x-raying, yes, we are x-raying the current state of public schools in Nigeria, looking at the Bayelsa situation, and Engineer Ebipuado Saporobi is here, and he's been doing a great job. What do you think? What's your own take on this issue? 0707 747 1522 0912 0001975. Text us on 0805 327 7767. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I greet the guests and the moderators.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, we thank your studio for having this resource person with you. And there is a very pertinent issue that I want to raise before him. Because there is a saying that he that goes to quit must go clean hands. There is this trending issue on this direct entry programs that is being organized by the best. You see, when other institutions, it is just like a JAMB program. When candidates having rigorously go through the process and finally write the exams and succeed in NDU, it is trending that for you to get admission, the student that, for example, the student that has the program at Tororua African University, Tororua wanted admission in NDU, that student will be compelled to pay. The institutions will say, since we did not run this program in our school, that is in NDU, will be compelled to pay almost the year school fees that you pay in that your institution before gaining admission. as we are talking about education and how some people are being deprived from having education in their area of choice in university. So how can he now substantiate this issue as not being depriving students from getting admission in their choice universities? Thank you. I remain Frank Ayerito, calling from Akin.
All right, so thank you very much for your contribution. 0707 747 1522, 0912 000 1975, and 0805 3277767. We're looking at the state of public schools in Nigeria. The last caller asked a question. We would like you to answer that question, but then let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I agree to get to the house and to that shop. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you.
This is the voice of Enoch Obedemi. I'm calling from Biogolo. Now, talking about, how do I put it now? There are so many things that we don't have in public schools, ranging from the primary to the secondary and to the higher institution. We're talking about infrastructure, like in my school, there are so many things that are bad. Many things have been stolen and they've never been replaced. We're talking about the welfare of the staff. Remuneration is not there. Promotion, they promote you physically. I call it physically. But in the real sense, you do not see the financial benefits. I don't know what the government is doing about it. That is why I take this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, A.B. Charles, for your question or your concern. The first caller, he asked a question about direct entry and being deprived of getting to the departments, institutions of their choices, and it is not really auguring well for a lot of people. What would you say about that?
Okay, incidentally, the issue of admission is strictly policy set up by the
institution.
Each university's senate.
Okay.
Yes. They set the standard, and then you can't question that. It's either you accept it or you go elsewhere. I mean, unfortunately. But as I said before, the government, if there are issues, I will tell you quickly that I feel that our young people are overburdened by the kind of monies that they have to pay. Yes, but yeah. So then the second caller talked about infrastructure. Okay, that's a universal issue. And then as I said before, government seem to think that building structures is education. In fact, there are, in the previous administration, buildings were set up and then computers bought but locked up. Meanwhile, those that needed computer don't have it. You see. So I mean, so these things are difficult to reconcile. But let them hear that there are infrastructural problem. At least somebody who is a teacher, I think, in the school system is calling. People are even afraid that if they complain, they may be sacked or reprimanded. So they are afraid to speak. That is why I said you guys are doing a good job, because they can sack me, but me, I will speak my mind, man. I'm telling you.
Let's take this call now. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Aibanwa Ambakderemo. I'm calling from Onopa community.
Okay, sir.
I noticed right from 1982 when I left secondary school that
to do so. I had said that our leaders, majority of them, have not received the kind of training that fits them for public office. And I can also add now that our educational system is not even prepared or equipped to produce the kind of leaders that we're looking for. So there's a fundamental problem in terms of the curriculum, teachers' motivation. The last caller, the lady that called earlier talked about you being promoted on paper. And then what does that mean? It means nothing.
Lack of motivation, though.
You see, so and it's a very common practice that after grumbling for a long time, so okay, let's just promote them now. Then they are promoted. Then what happens with the appurtenances that come with that promotion? They don't, so how do you motivate? So one of the key issue is poor motivation for teachers. Then it came away. Yesterday I got a WhatsApp message, and if I have the opportunity, I would like to maybe take some part of it. The other thing is, we don't value teachers. When I say we don't value teachers, we don't recognize the work they do. We do not recognize that they are the first in line in terms of building the society and the leaders we're talking about. So teachers are poorly motivated. Okay, now you add to that the fact that people feel that teaching is reserved for not the very best amongst us. That teaching is like now, for example, if you go to look at the JAMB cutoff, right? The cutoff mark, the entry for colleges of education, okay, for this year is set at 100. Okay, in colleges of education, the JAMB cutoff for this year is set at 100. Wow. The other
University is 150.
150.
Polytechnics 140, I think.
Yeah.
I can remember.
Okay. Now, some lady who chose from the very beginning, she said she wanted to become a teacher. So she had 278 in JAMB.
I saw that.
Okay.
I saw that.
Okay. Beautiful story, right? So people were looking at her. Education. Okay. After the first year or so, or first semester, she had 11 A's, out of the 12 subject, 1B. Then she was approached and said, look, you're too good for this department. Right? So you can go to go to do physics, and then you'll be able to. Okay, so you can see that our society in itself appear not to recognize the things it needs to do to be able to grow. And so teaching is left not for the best. Okay, but for those who have been filtered down, they don't have any. Okay, you can go to education. So okay, you can go to education. Okay, you can. So these people come out. What do you expect? So the point from that WhatsApp message, which Gbasa had seen, makes the point loud and clear. You see, so that individual is properly motivated. Teaching is what they want to do, right? And clearly, they have also the capacity to go with it. And it reminds me of Finland. We're headed for medicine. Then the third group, law, But in the 60s and 70s, absolutely the best people were heading to do engineering. And then, so if we have to fix this issue with education, then we need to shift education from where it is now and place it at the very top of priority for all of us. The very, the top. We have to look for a way to motivate our best students to become teachers. I will tell you that they have a role, but I will say in conjunction with government.
Okay.
Government needs to decentralize completely the supervision of schools. Decentralize it to the communities, because the communities are nearest to where the school is on a daily basis. So in conjunction with government, the teachers and the parents should create a local supervision mechanism, so that those who are nearest to the problem will be able to solve the problem. Yes, they should be involved. They should be involved. Right now, they are powerless. They see it, okay, but you see that the ideas are just ideas without the funding to back it.
With funding and implementation, right?
Funding and implementation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it. That's it for today. It's been interesting.
That was quick,
very quick, right? But we've not concluded this conversation. We will create an opportunity again to continue the conversation because I think some weeks ago, last week we talked about theoretical education,
Yeah.
whatever, and we had another lecturer as well
yes.
who came in here to enlighten us. Today we have you. Hopefully, we'll still bring you to expand on this conversation because it's very important. By the time we keep talking about this, I believe the leaders will also respond. Yeah, definitely.
They're listening.
That's the beauty.
That's
of
the idea.
That's
That's the idea
That's
for
the idea.
we set the agenda, right? That's what we do
what
here.
They're here to do, and they do to become.
Exactly.
Oh, do to become. Wow, I learned something new now.
Thank you so much once again, Engineer Bipuado Saprubi, for coming around to enlighten us and to educate us actually on this topic. Looking forward to having you some other time.
Thank you. Glad to be here again. Yes, let's just remember that knowledge is the most valuable asset.
That's right. And of course, to you who called in and listened, attentively, intently, we do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Make sure you still keep it locked right here because we are the Gold Standard Radio. I'm Moye Stephen.
And my name is Paul Basser.
Stay tuned for the news update at 10.